What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Verse Crypto channel, the most savage and degenerate crypto channel out there. My name's Khaos Kris, and I'm be your host today. Today, we have another awesome live stream. We're going to be jumping into all things pDAI, but also we're going to be discussing two hot projects that are actually on the Pulsechain ecosystem. I'm really excited to talk about these projects because they've been swimming all across Twitter, and I have a really special guest, someone that's big in the Pulsechain community, big in the Zen community, big in a lot of ecosystems. And I like to bring on the man, the myth, legend, Iceman. What's up, brother? How you doing today?
Hey man, good. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. I've meant to bring you guys on live stream for a minute because I always go on your Twitter. You got a lot of cool projects going on. You're always doing spaces. Seems like you're a big community hype man. What do you think about that?
I mean, I like to get to know people and just kind of like to be in the mix, man. I thought that's the best way to kind of market, is to make yourself available.
Absolutely, absolutely. So to kick this off, before we get into all the good stuff and we let people just jump into the live stream, what's your background and when did you first get into cryptocurrency?
Oh man, I think I first got into crypto in like 2016, just Bitcoin. And then I started trading Ethereum a little bit in like 2017, 2018, I guess. I started off on like Robinhood, trading it on there. I didn't really get like into crypto, I would say, like immersed in it until about 2.5 years ago. I had a real bad car wreck and I couldn't walk for like 6 months. And so I kind of got lost in Telegram and Twitter on crypto and been here ever since. So yeah.
Damn, I'm sorry that happened to you, dude. And seems like you're doing a lot better since then. But I mean that's a pretty interesting story. You had something tragic like that, but during that period of time, you built a new skill, and from what I see, the skill paid off. So kudos to you, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. So just getting into so you got into you got into crypto, got into Ethereum and stuff, and then you started getting into super stake. What was your first entry into super stake?
Well, I mean, I first got into Hex in like March of 2021, I guess, is when I first heard about Hex and Richard Hart. Um, and then I found out about Pulsechain. I found out about all this from watching Trevon. I used to watch Trevon's streams when I couldn't walk. I got into SuperStake. We formed the team that would create SuperStake about 12 months ago. We were all in this reflection token. It was called Dodeca, and the guy rug pulled us. And so I'd met a guy in there named the Coin Knight, and he told me he had a really good idea for a coin, and me and him were like DMing each other like nonstop, during this whole experience getting rug pulled on Dodeca. And so I just put a team together with some people I knew and thought would be good, and that's how it came about. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of amazing how it came about, really.
Wow, awesome. So now let's get into super stake, and we'll get into your other project, and then I know everyone wants me to talk about Atropa and pDAI, and I'd love to get your view on a few things because this ecosystem, believe it or not, your products are getting tied up into pDAI and Atropa, which absolutely fascinates me. And I'll leave that for the end. So you guys got to stick to the end while we break that down. But for super stake, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, what is super stake?
Yeah, Super Stake is kind of like the ultimate reflection token. Most reflection tokens, if not all of them, tend to they'll pump for a minute and then they'll just kind of fade away and go back down towards zero. They just kind of fade away after a minute. But Super Stake is a reflection token that's actually that actually has intrinsic value. It's backed by a giant 60-day rolling hex stake. That the smart contract stakes. And then, for instance, there's a 5.5% buy and a 5.5% sell tax on Super Stake on Pulsechain. And so, what happens is 2.5% of the buy and the sell tax goes to pay daily reflection dividends to the holders of 5,555 super stake or more, based upon the percent of the supply that they own. 2% of that tax goes to fund the giant 60-day rolling hex stake. And so, 2% of every buy and sell is being used to buy hex. That's strictly going to fund that recurring hex stake. And then 1% goes to the contract auto buying and burning PSSH, which is super stake on Pulsechain, to make super stake deflationary. We've already burnt over 200,000 super stake, I believe, to this point, and that's in like 2 weeks, out of a supply of 55,550,000. It's already 200,000 burnt. Yeah. But yeah,
Wow.
that giant 60-day hex stake will always be paid out regardless of volume. Even if there's no volume, people stop buying and trading, buying and selling super stake. The smart contract, the staking contract, will always pay out 1% of the staking pool every month. So what happens is you've got the staking pool, which currently has about 700,000 hex in it, and it's staked till mid-October. When that stake ends, 1% of the pool will be paid out to the holders of 5,555 super stake. The other 99% of the pool will be restaked, along with anything that accrued from 2% of that buy and sell tax in the previous 60 days. It'll be added to the existing stake. And that'll just keep repeating every 60 days. 1% of the pool is paid out. The other 99% is combined with whatever it accrued and it's restaked. And the reason it does that is because since it only pays out 1% of the pool, the 60-day stake is always making more than it pays out. We found that a 60-day stake earns about 1.7% yield in hex. So that's 0.7%. It's a small amount, but kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill. After a while, it's going to start compounding. And 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you're really going to see some exciting things taking place by virtue of that 60-day hex stake that CoinKnight devised.
Right. Yeah, no, this is a very interesting format because when I first see reflection tokens, everyone always says like, SafeMoon, but SafeMoon is a terrible example because it was a clear cut scam and it just gave a bad name for these types of tokens. Now, what I really like about what you're doing with Super Stake is you're taking one token, but you're paying it out in another. Typically, what I see with most of these reflection tokens is when you pay out in that base token, people take that dividend payout or whatever it is, that amount, and then they just sell it off. So it creates this massive sell pressure on the chart. Now, diving into Super Stake, my first question is, okay, so you got to own, it was 5,555 PSSH in
That's
order
right.
to receive that 60-day hex stake dividend. Now, if you're under that token amount, you would only receive the hex reflection, but you wouldn't receive that hex dividend.
No, you've got to own 5,555 to receive the daily reflections, and then also to receive the 60-day hex dividend. You've got to own 5,555 super stake for both.
Okay, so if you own under that amount, you don't receive any hex
That's correct.
reflection.
Yeah, if you own under that amount, you receive no hex reflections and no 60-day hex dividend. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So realistically, if the price were to go up, do you think with that minimum amount to receive those reflections, do you think this would discredit retail traders? What was the purpose of having that threshold? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, the reason for that minimum threshold is, as I understand it, is because if you're just paying out hex reflections to like somebody that owns one token or a percentage of one token or 5 tokens or 10 tokens, you could potentially have at some point down the line, tens of thousands of people potentially receiving the dividend, which is going to slow down the way that, because it's paid roughly every 24 to 27 hours, depending on volume. But the more people that are on that list that have to be reflections have to be batch sent out to, the longer the delay could potentially be at some point in the future. So that's why we put that minimum on there. So at max, 10,000 people could potentially receive reflections, because it's 10,000 people could potentially own 5,555 super stake.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So you're basically saying you need to throw a little skin in the game in order to receive the hex reflection. I get it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, move on to the next thing. So what's really interesting is we hear a lot of like liquid staking protocols behind, Ethereum and some of the most popular layer one projects. Do you think what Superstake is creating right now is probably the first liquid staking protocol for hex, in your opinion?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Just, I haven't done a whole lot of research into this coin night, and Kyle probably have a little bit more than I have. But from what I understand, yeah, I believe it's the first hex derivative to incorporate liquid staking. Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. This is also something here a lot within the Hex community. They always say we need a liquid staking protocol. Some people are coming up with, other options. And to me, when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is actually really, really cool. Now, going on to the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. So I want to show you this chart right here. And so we had Pulse Reflection, and this was the first reflection token that had a massive run up, especially
Yeah,
especially on Pulsechain, which is crazy. And shout out to Zach and Hodlnomics. They are
yeah,
uh big. Well, this is a community run
it's
project.
incredible.
Just yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
incredible, man. Yeah.
It's like I believe that's a 24x. I don't know if I can zoom in and you can see it a little bit more, but that was absolutely crazy. Now we're seeing a very similar run up to this with the super stake tokens. In your opinion, do you think super stake is going to have some pretty unbelievable price action in this next bull market?
Um, nah, I mean, personally, I think that it will. I mean, not financial advice. Everybody needs to do their own research. But I think it will. I think it's going to some degree, track the hex price at a certain ratio, and I don't know what that ratio is. It's still in price discovery. But as hex increases in price, I believe SuperStake will also increase in price. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, good, good, good. All right, now my next question that kind of just popped in my head earlier. So you've got about, based on a tweet, you said there's about 100,000 to 200,000 200,000 hex in the super stake smart contract being staked every 60 days and then goes through the dividend procedure. Now, do you think super stake could potentially, based on if the project is popular, be a major, I guess, whale through that smart contract in Hex? So I'm saying, like, do you see this? Do you see Super Stake possibly one day owning maybe somewhere between 5 to 10% of the Hex supply on Pulse Chain?
Well, I mean, it's just math, right? So down the road, the way that the SuperStake protocol was designed by the Coin Knight, I mean, I can't tell you how far down the road that's going to be, obviously, but yeah, I do see that as a potentiality. And currently, I think it's actually closer to 700,000 that are currently staked, with another 100,000 that have been bought and put in the staking pool waiting to be staked in just the last less than 2 week period. So
Wow.
we expect to have over 1 million hex actually to be restaked when the 60-day stake ends.
Wow, that's actually amazing. If I do the math right now, 100,000 was right around $800. Then that 1 million means you got about $8,000 worth of hex at the time of this recording. So that's pretty impressive. How I see this playing out is if there's a lot more popularity behind, Super Stake, there's a good chance that we could see this snowball effect where you start to see a lot of this hex start rolling in, rolling in, rolling in. And how I see this project performing is it's kind of basically pulling all this hex off the market,
Mhm.
reducing the amount of liquid supply on Pulse Chain, and basically making it much more scarce while continuing to keep in the smart contract that essentially only pays 1% of it out every 60 days. So this is
Yeah.
very similar to another project called Beetroot, where they have like a reflection token. They put 25, I think it was like 25% into a burn wallet address, and the reflections serve as like a black hole. So it
Hmm.
absorbs all those tokens from the market and actually make us hyper deflationary. So it's a really cool
Well,
thought experiment. I mean,
yeah.
maybe to a certain degree, this makes Hex not deflationary, but similar mechanics. So, but we don't have to get too much
Yeah.
into it.
Less inflationary, perhaps, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing I've noticed with Super Stake that really caught my attention, I want to get your opinion on this. We had a liquidity pool between the Super Stake token and the most popular token on Pulsechain right now, Atropa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did someone on the team do that, or is that community run?
I mean, I personally didn't do that, and I'm not aware of anybody on the team that did that. I haven't asked the other guys, but I don't think that they did. I'm assuming it's just somebody in the community that formed the pool. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And the other thing I want to ask you, so for Super Stake, I meant to ask this at the beginning. Are you a developer or do you do like social media stuff? Like what's
I'm
your
not so
role?
yeah, I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer. Riley is our coder and developer, and
Okay.
then Coin Knight actually devised the protocol. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just strictly like marketing, social media. Yeah, some of this stuff. I mean, we've been working on it for a year, so you pick up and learn things. But I'm a whole lot smarter now than I was when we started this process, just because of those two guys, for sure.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I bet. I
yeah,
bet yeah, when you're around smart people, you're definitely, I guess you can say learning new things, and that's awesome. But cool. The interesting part about this is the same thing I saw with Pulse Reflection. Pulse Reflection had pairings between DAI and Atropa, and I'm seeing a lot of projects do the same thing with, all these Atropa ecosystem products. We have no idea what is going on. And so that's
yeah.
why everyone's creating these liquidity pools. And to see Superstake tied up with Atropa, and then I believe I saw one where it was also tied up with DAI as well, even though
Okay, okay.
that's kind of the low end. 231 is not really that big of a deal. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. It's just interesting to see what I call the Atropa phenomenon going on right now in the Pulsion ecosystem. So cool. Now I want to get some more basic questions nailed down. Is Superstake immutable?
Yes, yes, it is immutable. Now there's one admin key that will be relinquished after the end of the first 60-day stake. After that stake ends and the smart contract then restakes, and everything's working flawlessly, there's no problems there. Then that other admin key, or the admin key, will be relinquished. Yes.
Okay. And so the process of staking the hex, that whole process is essentially, from your understanding, it's like automated through a smart contract. There's no
There's no
shady
human
middlemen.
intervention. Yeah, no, it's true DeFi. It's going to be immutable code, trustless yield. I mean, it's true DeFi. No middlemen, no counterparty risk, none of that. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive, and that is awesome. Shout out to you and the two developers for creating something so great about that. Um, cool. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about. So in the past, we've seen reflection tokens not do really, really well, and pretty much
Sure.
almost every reflection token from last market pretty much collapsed.
Hmm.
Do you think this is going to be the same case with Superstake?
Well, it's going to be an interesting experiment because of the fact that it's backed by the 60-day hex stake, which is always going to be compounding. And at some point, that 60-day hex stake at some point in the future is going to provide value, intrinsic value to it. Perhaps it's during the bull run, or after hex. Because, for instance, if it's worth $8,000, the hex in the staking pool now, after hex does a 10x, it's worth 80,000. If Hex did a 30x, it's worth 240,000 plus everything that's going to be added to it. So that's the difference between Superstake and other reflection tokens, is that giant 60-day rolling Hex stake for sure.
Gotcha. Awesome. Good stuff. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you about, so allocations. I saw that you guys had I think it was a 20% team allocation. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct. Yeah, I believe that is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I have it right here on the white paper. So you have a 30% team slash marketing allocation, and then 70% goes straight to the public. Now, for that 30% team slash marketing allocation, is there going to be a period of time where those tokens are locked up, or how's that going to work?
As I understand it, none of the tokens actually are going to be locked up, as I understand it.
Okay.
In part that now that marketing, I can't talk too much about. Kyle would actually kill me if I did, because it's like no expectations and it's potential legalities with the SEC, things of that nature. He doesn't want me to comment too much on it, or what that stuff what could ultimately happen to those tokens. Nobody really knows, I should say.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Gotcha. All right. Awesome. So take that off. So yeah, awesome. Good coverage on Super Stake. It's a really cool project. I think it has potential. I see a lot of hype within the community, and it's going to be really interesting to see if this could potentially be one of the few tax tokens to make it in the next bull market run. Now, the last question I wanted to ask you before we conclude
Hmm.
this, and we got to move on to another token.
Yeah.
Is Super Staked on Ethereum now, or are you guys planning on launching it on Ethereum?
It's actually been live on Ethereum for a couple of months now, actually.
Okay.
There's very little volume because of the transaction fees. The transaction fees on Ethereum, there's very little volume. But on Ethereum, actually, there's no taxes. We devised this as a taxless product, but there were issues getting the exact same contract that works flawlessly on Ethereum to work on Pulsechain. So for Pulsechain, we had to go back to the drawing board and devise a tax setup. So that's why we relaunched with taxes on Pulsechain. But yes, on Ethereum, it's live now, and the 60-day hex stake is working, paying out hex. It's just the daily reflections. There's no volume, and those daily reflections are dependent on volume, so they're very sporadic in nature.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And then last thing, do you guys have anything planned on the roadmap for Super Stake? Any added utility? Anything new for us to expect?
Um, and no expectations. I can't comment on that. Like, Kyle would literally kill me, because that could potentially make us a security if we had plans to do anything, right? Superstake is a finished product. People should not expect anything further to be developed for it, because it is a finished product. Um, maybe down the road, something is developed for it, but I really can't comment on that. I really
Okay.
can't comment on that. Yeah.
Okay. No worries. I got you. All
Yeah.
right. Awesome. Cool. So now let's move on to another project that I've actually seen a lot of hype behind on the Pulsechain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we started off with one token. We moved on to another. The first name of this token was Zen Pepe. There was a
Yeah.
huge Pepe hype. There's a huge Zen
Yeah.
hype. And then it slowly transitioned into the Jack token, which is named after the founder of Zen,
Yeah.
Jack Levin,
That's right.
on the Pulsechain. So give us a little breakdown. What is the Jack token,
Hmm.
and what's
Yeah,
its
the
main
the
purpose on
Jack
the
token
Pulsechain?
contract was coded and developed by Slashdot, the founder and lead developer for Daytona Finance. He's also a Zenian, a day one Zenian like myself. He wanted to build something for the community, that basically took what ZenPepe was, which ZenPepe was the first product to buy and burn Zen on Pulsechain. It was a manual buy and burn. It was not automated. So Slashdot devised a totally trustless smart contract that had an auto buy and a trustless burn, and he actually coded the contract so that each individual burns the PZIN that was bought with their share of the taxes via the website. And by doing that, this is a really new innovation. What he's done here, he's calling the proof of burn function in the Zen contract, which enables each buyer and seller to qualify for an XN allocation down the road, which is the native gas token of the X1 blockchain that Jack Levin is building. So each individual qualifies for an allocation of XN just by buying and selling Jack and helping to reduce the PZIN supply, because Zen is very, very inflationary, highly inflationary. And Zen.pl was the first product that burns Zen on Pulsechain. I think Fenix launched shortly thereafter. And then Jack, the Jack token, is a fully automated buy and trustless burn where no human has to do it. No, there's no human in charge of any of the funds. It's true DeFi. And each individual qualifies for an XN allocation just by trading the Jack token. There was no founder, no team allocation. All the tokens, the Zen.pl holders were airdropped 1-to-1, so they were taken care of before Jack token came out. They were airdropped supply 1-to-1. The rest of the tokens went into the liquidity pool. No founder and no team allocation. So yeah, I'm very excited for Jack, and I think it's going to be a really popular meme. It's already had some great success recently. Volume's kind of slow right now, but I mean, it's a killer meme. It's just a killer meme. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So, you said 1% buy and burn on the PZIN, or is it 2%?
No, it's a 1% on Jack. It's a 1% buy and a 1% sell tax. Yep,
Okay,
1%
1%
buy and
buy,
1%.
and that
Yep,
goes
that's
directly
correct.
just to burning Zen. It's not going to burn the Jack token at all.
No, 100% of the tax proceeds go to the buying and burning of PZIN. I've talked with a guy who's talked about developing something that could potentially burn the Jack token, which would be incredible. But yeah, currently there's no burn on the Jack token itself. Yeah,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
yeah,
So the idea is you got this meme token launching on the Pulse chain, designed to just burn Zen
yeah.
and to just build hype behind the Zen ecosystem. That's very interesting, and I like the idea of bringing in the Zen auction. So that's really really cool.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
for anyone who's interested in checking this project out, come over here to jack.community and then slash burn, and it has a really cool website. Tells you how much Zen's been burnt. Tells you how to you can go on Daytona Finance, farm for Tony
Yeah.
token, and the whole 9 yards. And then they also have a Jack chart. Now, coming over to this Jack chart,
Yeah.
we had a little bit of a run up, and
Mhm.
then went down, and then we had a retracement, and then now we're trading kind of sideways. We got about
Yeah.
a 7K liquidity pool. And, typically with projects like this in the Zen ecosystem, they typically start to go up when a big event happens. DBXN
Mhm.
launches, they go up.
Yeah.
Phoenix
Yeah.
launches, they go up. And we're just kind of in this weird space where the 333 auctions haven't happened yet. And there's a huge amount of expectations. Iceman, in your opinion, do you
Mhm.
think the 333 auctions will jumpstart Jack when it comes to price action?
Um, I mean, it's possible. I think that what's really gonna kickstart the price action is people find out that we've already burned over 1% of the PZIN supply already, and that they're qualifying for that XN allocation by virtue of just trading the token. But yeah, potentially, people could come into the ecosystem specifically because of the burn auctions and then find out about Jack, after entering this ecosystem. So it could be a catalyst. I could see that for sure. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. And what's your thoughts on the 333 auctions being pushed back? Because to be honest with you, I've been in Atropa, pDAI. I haven't had a chance to get into it. And I like to look at your stuff. I like to look at who Tree City West, a couple other people every now and then just to keep up. But the 333 auctions got delayed. In your opinion, what do you think about this? Like, what are your thoughts that come to your head?
I haven't really given it too much thought because I know Jack is working hard, developing things, and all this stuff is very fluid because he's taking into account the community's engagement and the community's thoughts, and putting together the best possible plan based upon what the community wants, in my opinion. Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. I know he's been getting into Zen blocks. He got into Zen GPT. He's got a lot of products coming out, and to be honest, it takes
Yeah.
a full-time job to follow
Yeah.
the ecosystem. And
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing against Zen or anything, but do
Yeah.
you think there's too much going on in Zen, or do you think these products complement everything and kind of bring it all together?
Well, I'm trusting in Jack's vision, which I can't see. None of us can see. I'm trusting that he's got a vision to tie in all of these things that he's incorporating in some type of style that's going to make sense at the end. Basically, I mean, I'm just trusting in Jack at this point. I know he's going to do the right thing. It's a lot of overload. I've been mining a little bit too, and man, that's like a full-time job too, setting that up, and with the updates, you have to redo your miners. Basically, I think at the end of the day, though, it's gonna all make sense in hindsight. I'm confident that all of this will make sense in hindsight for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Now, one thing I want to talk to you about, we got Jack, you have Zen Pepe on the Pulse chain. And Pulse chain's it's a striving blockchain right now. There's a lot going on right now. We got a bear meme coin blowing up. We got a hidden uh Atropa ecosystem that apparently has hidden ambush technology. I'm just kidding. I'm just making fun of somebody.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
gonna
I heard that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna jump out because of a magic crystal ball. I'm just kidding. All
exactly.
right, all
Right,
right.
right.
I,
Yeah,
but but there's a lot going on here, and in the past, it seems like Pulse Chain and the Zen community don't get along with each other very well. You
sure.
have a token exclusive to the Pulse Chain blockchain. In
Hmm.
your opinion, do you think this is going to be a problem for the Jack token?
Um, what do you mean that Jack's only on Pulse Chain, or that Super Stake exists, or what in what sense do you mean pose a problem?
So you got a community that's not well. So I know there's people in
Oh,
Pulse Chain that
oh, you
like
mean
it.
it's yeah, yeah. There's a lot of hexagons that are closet Zen mentors, man. There's a lot of hexagons that are into Zen. They may not say so publicly, but a lot more are coming forward than they were, say, a year ago at this time when they were truly closet mentors. You're seeing a lot less um, arguments and stuff between the two communities. And basically by putting the Zen Pepe on Pulse Chain, which led to Jack, and to make things even more confusing, Zen Pepe is working on a V2 with an auto buy and burn 2 down the road. But by launching Zen Pepe and ultimately Jack on Pulse Chain, the goal was to you know teach more hexagons and pulsicans about Zen, and what it is, and kind of break down those walls and try to form some cohesiveness between the two communities.
Interesting. That's a very interesting approach. Yeah. I remember when my buddy Adam over at Vibra Finance first told me about Zenpepe. He's like, "Hey man, you gotta go check out this coin." And I
Yeah,
hopped in, and then I know I went on a couple of your
other Twitter
Twitter
spaces.
spaces, yeah,
Yeah,
and started talking to you guys, and it's pretty interesting because you do have a really cool community coming around. You got a lot of people, believe it or not, they're actually really excited about Zen on Pulsion. They think that actually
yeah,
might do better than Zen on Ethereum.
yeah,
In your opinion,
exactly.
with all these products and all these different types of Zen, which Zen token do you think is going to perform on which blockchain?
Well, I'm really betting on Zen on Pulse Chain. I've got some Zen on Ethereum. I'm about to start minting on Optimism because Optimism is like compressed. It everything happens like 10 times faster on Optimism than it does on any of the other chains. So I think Optimism will be a good one. But I really believe Pulse Chain, at the end of the day, has the potential to outperform any of the other blockchains in terms of Zen for sure.
Yeah,
I believe
it,
that.
yeah. There's another factor I like to bring in when it comes to looking at Zen on each blockchain, and I always like to look at like I call it education level or crypto education level. Believe it or not, a lot of people on Pulsechain are pretty smart when it comes to
Oh yeah,
diving in and researching stuff. A lot of other communities, they don't really like to think. Some of them just like to buy tokens, see green candles, and I get that. I'm not hating on anybody,
yeah, yeah,
but the
mhm,
people on Pulsechain are some of the smartest people I've ever met, because the reason why is
yeah,
when I debate them, I got to come with something. When I debate people outside Pulsechain, I don't really have to come with much. So
yeah,
the
exactly.
reason the reason why I say that is because I think people on Pulsechain will understand Zen the most compared to, I guess, AVAX maxis. Or I don't even know they exist, or Binance Smart Chain maxis, or even the ETH maxis.
Yeah,
Just my opinion. But
yeah,
yeah,
mine too.
yeah. So that's a very interesting analysis. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about, Jack's just on Pulsechain. Do you think this token could be launched on other blockchains depending on its success on Pulsechain?
But, that's a great question. I've talked to Slashdot about this a little bit. It's been a minute since we've had these discussions, but as I understand it, yes, he does ultimately want to launch this on other chains as well, not just Pulse Chain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And what's going to be interesting is, believe it or not, Jack might actually be deflationary in the future. And I'll tell you
Yeah.
why. Well, you probably already know what I'm talking about, but XenGarbagedump is going to come to the Pulsechain one day. And I have this crazy theory. Zen Classic, and here's some alpha for all the viewers here. Zen Classic, and this ties into Jack or whatever, is going to be sleeping hidden gem, because when Zen Garbage Dump launches, that thing's going to allow people to burn Zen Classic, and then also on
Yeah.
top of that, Atropa is keeps on pairing that liquidity pair up with Zen and use Zen Classic and use that arbitrage opportunity to make money off of it. And so you
Yeah.
got the collision of the Atropa ecosystem, hidden ambush technology, colliding with whatever Zen Garbage Dump has to offer. So, in my opinion, I think Zen Classic is an absolute sleeper, and not many people are minting because there's not a front end for it. And Jack also mentioned on his Twitter, so the thing's it's already out there. Everyone knows about it. So it's like, for me, it's like the perfect slam dunk formula. Iceman, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I actually believe that there is a front end. I saw it on Steve Mon's Twitter a couple of
Oh,
months ago, and he reposted it. Somebody actually devised a front end. It's just nobody knows about it. That you can actually use this front end to mint Zen Classic. I haven't personally done it yet, but we've talked about it on the Twitter Spaces a little bit. Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, never mind. Bad
Well, I mean
revise.
that's breaking news though that we just broke here on your YouTube stream though. That's breaking news because nobody knows about it. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Oh. Okay, I was about to say, man, I had this really great theory in my brain. I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be so cool to talk about." And then you come up with that. I'm just like, "Oh man, I didn't really think this clear." But then, well, hey, breaking news. So, I guess I'm about
yeah.
to rethink that theory. But I still think Zen Classic is awesome, and
Oh,
I am.
yeah.
Go
Zen
ahead.
Classic is amazing, man. The being paired with Itropa, I mean, it's pumped. I haven't checked it lately, but it was up like 40 or 50x from the bottom when I checked a week or two ago. I mean, Zen Classic's doing amazing. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
because of
dude.
Itropa.
Yeah. Trova's been doing crazy, and the thing that really threw me off when I was looking at the Tropa ecosystem, because as you know, I did Zen a lot, and then I moved over to pDAI and Atropa because people weren't talking about it, and then
Yeah,
when I started talking about it, all the Maxi started attacking me, which made me want to
yeah.
talk about it even more, and so
Yeah.
I went and focused on this, and basically it is the craziest phenomenon because people get so thrown off when they see what's happening. And what Atropa is basically trying to do is it's trying to bring pDAI to peg, but it's also using these other tokens through liquidity pairs, kind of like an internet or like a sponge. And
Okay.
based on these liquidity pairs, when one token goes up, the value gets transferred across all the other tokens, and it all leads back to Atropa, which in turn leads back to pDAI. And
Okay.
so whoever's doing this is they're using this advanced AI trading bot that's basically taking profit from each of these pools, buying up the
Okay.
pDAI token, pairing up the Atropa token, and burning it. And so what Atropa essentially is it's like a profit, it's a massive profit taking bot that's basically using the ecosystem for arbitrage opportunities to bring pDAI to peg. And
Well,
whether or not it's going to be brought to peg in the near future, maybe not so likely. In a year, definitely possible. So it's just so interesting to see how Zen Classic gets tied into this. And then I think the reason why that happened was because there's not that much inflation going on with Zen Classic. And so
yeah,
the supply is going to be pretty leveled out. With PZen, there's going to be inflation. The price is going to go down. You can still make money off of it. Like
yeah,
I always try to explain this concept to people. It's like you mint Zen, you claim it in a year, you sell it, you make like $100 off of like a $5 gas fee or something. Well,
yeah,
on Pulsechain, it's probably like a buck or a couple cents,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So that's the most interesting part about it. So yeah, I want to get into a little bit of some pDAI and Tropo if that's cool with you. But outside
That's
of
great.
Jack,
Yeah.
is there anything else you want to talk about?
Um,
Or
we pretty much covered everything, man. I'm just waiting to hear what you have to say because I'm really interested in wrapped Bitcoin myself. So yeah.
wrap Bitcoin? Okay, cool. Um,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Yeah, so I want to go through some of these comments, see if we get any big questions, then I'll move on to what I usually do with the Atropa and stuff and
Yeah,
make
yeah. Okay.
predictions and stuff. So
Yeah, that's great,
cool.
man.
We got Hexicasians in the house. Ray Ox, phenomenal research. Shout out to Ray Ox. If you guys get a chance, please go follow Ray Ox on Twitter. This dude has alpha. I got a big live stream with this man's research on Friday. I'm gonna be talking about some stuff that it's gonna be pretty shocking. And Ray Ox was one of the main players in the research. So really great guy.
Okay.
Um Ryan Bates, Iceman, love you, dude. Oh, that's Cleo.
Cleo, that's
Cleo
Cleo.
from Twitter. Okay. Wait,
Yeah.
oh, okay, awesome. Wait, he's the
Yeah,
dude
that's
that
him.
flies like the fighter jets, right?
Yeah, he flies airplanes. Yeah, yeah, he flies planes for a living. Yeah.
Damn, man, I want to fly a plane, man. That sounds sick. So
I know, right? Yeah, really.
yeah, so TD, what's up, my man? It's good to see you. Bobby's in the house. The Dodeca rug pull pissed me off. I only threw
Hmm.
1K into it, but the dude not verified the contract after mysterious servers decoded. It blew my mind, not in a good way. So
Yeah, yeah, wrecked a lot of people, man.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
So let's see if we got any more questions. Richard P. So Jack, a good token to buy. So I'll start off and Iceman, I'll let you give your opinion. So
sure.
my opinion is with Jack, everything in the Zen ecosystem is inflationary except for Jack, and I also believe VMPX, and then Zen Pepe. So Jack could potentially be a good play, not financial advice, but also it's got the meme
Yeah,
component behind it. It's got Jack Levin's name on it. And Jack even tweeted about it. So, in my opinion, if you're betting on a meme coin, this could be one on Pulsechain to bet on. Not
yeah.
financial advice. Iceman, what's your opinions?
No, I agree with everything that you said. I also know, like for instance, I know Hexicajun is trading Jack because of the low 1% buy and 1% sell tax. It's a lot easier to trade the chart. A and B also by trading it, people are earning XN allocation. So it's kind of like an inverse reward token in some sense because at a future date you're going to receive some sort of XN allocation for just trading the token. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then Rayox, want to give a shout out to Slashdot, very trustable dev. I'm sure Jack will do well in the future, yada yada. Okay, so moving on down here. Oh yeah, Monette shout out. I know a lot of people like talking about Monette. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
well, we'll get a little bit more into that in a second. So I think we cover everything else. All right, cool. So I'm gonna cover some pDAI Atropa stuff, and then we'll get this sucker wrapped up. But
All
some
right.
big news that came in. Coach X just announced that we had some 414 wallet activation. So for those of you guys who don't know, the 414 wallet is the main wallet that started this whole Atropa business. And Coach X came out and said, this is one of the contracts 414 created 1 day ago. It's called $Punk. 10 different LPs, not renounced. Interesting name, meaning level 5. Watch the supply. So we got a lot of things to go on here. So I want to break down what Coach X is talking about. Now, every time we get a new token created by the 414 address, it typically starts off as not renounced, and then they renounce it down to the future. Now, one thing that I noticed is they always put out these different LPs. In my opinion, what they're trying to do is drive more volume so that they can use the bot to arbitrage and bring it back into Atropa and bring the price of pDAI up. Some people think they're using it as an opportunity to take profits and escape out the gate. Iceman, what's your opinion about this new token launch?
I'm just watching all this with a lot of interest. I love the community. I would be very surprised if that was the case, if somebody was going to do that. I would be, based upon the activity we've seen thus far with the 414. I would be very surprised if ultimately that was the case. I think all the value is ultimately going to flow back, like you said, to Itropa and potentially to wrap Bitcoin.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely great. Now, one thing I want to point out, Coach X called this a level 5 token. Now, the reason why he called this a level 5 is basically, let's see if I can. Here, I'm gonna remove this. I need to get my little chart out here. Sorry, I was not prepared. Let me grab this. I need to grab a little diagram so that we can map this out, because we need to get a new diagram of this murder mystery going on, and then we stop the screen share, do another present, and then hopefully I can just do the entire screen. Here we go. So basically what he means by level 5 is, so this is like level 1 right here, right? So we have level 1, which is Atropa, and then level 2, which are going to be all of these tokens all the way across, coming across here. So these are like the next levels to Atropa. And then we have level 3, which comes out to these tokens right here, all the way across. And then it just kind of falls as like a loop all the way through. So right here, that's 1, 2, and this is 3. And then, believe it or not, these little small tokens, Treasury Bill, Teddy Bear, and Legal.
Yeah.
This is let's do another color just so we can't see it. So these one right here, these are all combined into the 4th level all the way across. So this is level 4 right here. Now, what Coach X was saying is we kind of have like these little rings coming across, and now another level of rings just came across where they're going to pair up with like tokens like Legal and the RH token, and then it's basically going to drive massive amounts of volume back into the ecosystem. And so I think that was the main thing that he was highlighting on when he was pointing out level 5, and we're basically getting another continuation of this insane Atropa ecosystem. So it's really cool to watch. Now I want to come over here and just take a little look at some price action. I believe, was it Punk? So since this token launched, we had it go from a bottom right here, and then it hit a 3x, and it's starting to level out right now. I haven't really gotten a chance to take a good look of what's going on, but if I come over here, I think the total supply is sitting at about 700 Punk tokens. So I'm not really sure what's going on with this token. Not really much is known. And then also when I go in, I type in Punk, it says century means silence. Iceman, in your opinion, what do you think is going on with this Punk token? Any thoughts, any theories, any speculation?
This is the first time actually hearing about it. I'm not even familiar with it in the slightest. So this is fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, we're also getting more tokens coming in and, just continue to pair. Now, one thing I want to tell you about that I found very interesting. And so we have all these tokens coming in every now and then. The 414 wallet rolls out new tokens. And so one thing that I noticed was there's a Twitter profile. His name is Sunny Detective. And
Hmm.
Sunny, I know most of you guys know, he loves going in, he loves researching Atropa. He has the famous saying, the 414 wallet's my god. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
But he actually created a token that I looked at a little bit, but I think I'm going to talk a little bit about with you because I think a lot of people are overlooking this. And he created this token called A1A. Now I'm going to do a little screen share. So we have this token called A1A. And basically, from a first glance, you can see that this token did about, I'll just say like the bottom's right here. The bottom's right about right here. It did about, I think it was like an 81x, and now it's sitting at a 38x.
Hmm.
So what Sunny did was he looked at what the Atropa ecosystem was doing, and he actually replicated across 150 other PRC20 tokens, the ones in Atropa, and also the ones across the entire Pulsechain. And so what he did was him and his other developer took $10,000 of all these tokens, paired it up with basically all the PRC20 tokens, all the Atropa tokens, and did this massive liquidity pool bonding. And basically, what it's going to do is speed up the pegging price for pDAI so they can hit $1. And so it's
Okay.
basically a supercharger for the Atropa ecosystem. Iceman, what's your thoughts on the A1A token based off of what I just told you?
Well, I've heard a little bit about this because I tune into Sonny's voice chats in his Telegram room sometimes and listen. The guy's very intelligent. He seems to have a good grasp of what's going on with the 414, in my opinion. Um, if he said it, I'm pretty. I mean, I believe it's possible. I believe it's possible. I picked up a little bit of a A1A myself after finding out about it because I'm definitely intrigued by everything that Sonny's saying for sure.
Yeah. You know, and Wake Dog just had a comment, and this was actually literally about what I was about to say. So I'm gonna put it up here because I guess,
Yeah,
I guarantee you read my mind. But
yeah,
here's the thing about the Atropa ecosystem. Everybody likes it because we're making money, we're having fun, we're speculating. The maxis are sitting there getting all upset and pissed off, and we're just sitting here and we're still doing it regardless of what they say. That's what I love about it.
yeah,
Now, the thing is, there's too many tokens and there's too many things to keep up with. And if you buy like 20 of these tokens, you start to get extremely anxious. You start to
yeah.
view your chart. You can't do your work. You can't focus. The one thing I love about A1A is it's paired up with every single token. If one of those token rises, A1A will rise. And A1A is basically like a sponge, similar to Atropa. It's a little bit better than Atropa. And if you don't want to buy Monet, if you don't want to buy Wrap Bitcoin, if you don't even want to buy like tsfi or any of the other tokens, you can just own A1A and you get a little piece of the pie of everything. And so, in my opinion,
Okay,
that's why I think it's such a great play and it has so much
okay.
potential.
That's
So,
interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and if I come over here, like I'll just show you my token watch list. So we got the Bullion token. Bullion token just had like 98% of the supply burnt. Some people think it might run. 414 Wallet's been, selling some of these tokens like right here. You see these big candles right here? This was the
Mm-hmm.
414 wallet selling it and buying up the pDAI token and then burning it. And so he was
Okay.
basically, whoever was doing it was using it to make profits off of it. And then we have the Poppy token. Not much is known about the Poppy token, but if I recall, I think it has a thick liquidity between legal. I'm not really sure. There's too many of these things to keep up with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but this is also another token. And then the last one, down. Down has a really big thick liquidity between Atropa. Some people think it's used to absorb sell volume. So, like I said, these tokens are hard to keep up with. There's too much going on. And I did a live stream where I talked about this, where you have all these tokens, and I say, okay, look, you got the U, the A, the teddy bear, the treasury bill, and yada yada yada. There's nothing wrong with just going for the main one, Atropa
Yeah,
and pDAI. And
exactly.
maybe if you want to get a little more degen, you can get a little tsfi and get the down. And then if you want to go B roots level, shoot the shot with teddy bear. And that's why I always tell people, Iceman, I know you've been in a lot of these tokens, a lot of these projects.
Yeah.
What tokens have you been looking at, or what was your strategy behind Atropa?
I own Atropa just because, like you said, it's a lot to keep up with, and Atropa seems like the more it seems like the smart play in my mind. These other ones can be kind of degen. But then, I also, man, I still like the Pulse wrapped Bitcoin copy a lot, man. I'm just taking a flyer on it, but I think potentially that could be a good token for sure. It's a
Yeah, it's
great meme. Yeah.
hey, listen, man. Pulse wrap Bitcoin is the real Bitcoin. Screw the real Bitcoin. I absolutely love this token. I'm just playing around, but I still think it's a great one. What's interesting was I talked to Rags to Riches about this token. You have a token with, I believe the supply was, it might have been like 300. Oh, I'm sorry,
It 55.
154,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently it's even less than that because some of those tokens was in another protocol or another address at the time of the fork. So in reality, a wrapped Bitcoin theoretically could hit parity to Bitcoin because it's a smaller supply, more economic energy. Iceman,
hmm
in your opinion, do we see parity between wrapped Bitcoin and Bitcoin?
Just based off of what I've read and people that I've talked to that are a lot smarter than me, I think it's more likely that wrapped Bitcoin could potentially touch parity. I'm not going to say peg, but touch that price because the amount of economic energy needed to take those less than 155,000 tokens to peg or to parity with Bitcoin is less than the economic energy needed to take pDAI, uh, to a dollar, for instance, just based upon what I've read and people I've talked to. That seems to be a consensus.
That's a
Yeah.
very good point. No, I like that. I love that take. You know, a lot of these PRC20 tokens are going to go to well, not a lot of them, but we're going to see some hit parity, we're going to see some supersede. And so I think probably Wrap Bitcoin is the most well-known token out there in the Pulsechain ecosystem, whether anyone likes it or not. More people are going to understand what Wrap Bitcoin is than Hex. And
Yeah.
so I firmly believe that if this thing supersedes the price of Bitcoin on Ethereum, that's going to get a lot of attention. There's going to be a lot of bragging rights. There's going to be a lot of back and forth between people on Pulsechain and people on Ethereum. So I'm really rooting for Wrap Bitcoin to do it.
Yeah.
Iceman, do you think we'll see PRC20 tokens hit parity? If so, which ones do you think will most likely hit parity? Can't use Wrap Bitcoin because we just talked about it.
Oh man, I really have no idea, but I've got bags of some of this stuff because I believe it's definitely a possibility. Somebody out there a lot smarter than me is making things happen, and I believe ultimately that they might be successful. Like I said, a wrapped Bitcoin, I can't use that one. Oh, what is it? Pax Gold, I think it's called Pax
Pax
Gold.
Gold.
I think that one could potentially. Yeah.
That's actually a good one. I actually haven't looked at that one. Hey, goes you, man. I looked at so many of these, and that was actually one I have not looked at since. Wow. I need to show you this. Dude, look at
Yeah.
this, dude. Wow. I did not expect that. It's actually at $45 right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's
then
crazy.
what's the supply off of this, man? 261. So it's a little bit more than big wrap BTC on Pulsechain. Man,
Yeah,
I think I'm actually going to research this one tonight. And look,
yeah,
it almost hit an all-time high at one point.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
this paired up with anything? So, oh, maybe it's the USDC. Oh, Pax Gold, there's a thick one between wrap Bitcoin. That's why.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think this is what's going on because someone did a pairing and there's about 18K liquidity. So maybe Pax Gold could potentially be used because we're starting to see the build out of so some people think Monet Money is going to be like the Atropa to the wrap Bitcoin. And I see everyone talk about Monet Money a lot. So here, I'm gonna do this on another one. I'll
All
bring up
right.
Monet Money because I want to go back to that. But so dang, dude, somebody just changed the logo. That's so funny. But s- oh, it was Monet, and then I'm looking for the wrap Bitcoin one. So this one has a 78K liquidity pool. And basically, some people believe that Monet Money is going to be what brings wrap Bitcoin to parity. On top of that, now we got a Pax G and a wrap Bitcoin pool. And then you look at the liquidity pool, it's getting paired up pretty thick. And this might be an arbitrage pool that could be
Okay.
used to keep buying up wrap Bitcoin and bring it to parity. So it's a very interesting concept, and I think we'll definitely look at this. This is really cool. Do you have any other details about Pax Gold? Is it just like a coin that follows the price of gold?
Yeah, I found out about it. I think it was Sami did a video on it a few months ago, and that's how I found out about it. And I've just kind of been checking the charts every so often, but that's really the extent of my knowledge on it. It seemed very intriguing to me. It
D-
seemed very intriguing, actually.
wait. Did he say that the PRC20 token copy was doing like well in price? He did a video on that.
Yeah, like a month or two ago, it had spiked at some point. I think you might see it on the chart there actually, and
Yeah,
he covered it in a video that he did briefly, like for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
interesting. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look at that. Well, cool. Now, the one big takeaway I want to say about Tropa, I have this big theory. I want to get your opinion on it. I think what the end game of Atropa is not necessary. Well, it is obviously to bring value to PRC20 tokens and also bring pDAI
Yeah.
to value. I think Atropa might be serving as like a store value mechanism that will somehow be tied to the price of Ethereum so that in the future, when we start to see bull runs and bear runs, the PRC20 tokens are going to be very close to price in ERC20 tokens for arbitrage value and opportunity. Iceman, your
Mhm.
opinion, what do you think Atropa is being used for?
Um, I mean, I really have no idea. A lot of this stuff is beyond my comprehension. So just based upon people that I've talked to and people that I value their opinion, I believe it's being used, like you said, to bring value to the PRC20s. I believe that's what it's being used for. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. So, cool. Yeah, so I think we went through all the questions. Someone wanted me to ask you about Monet Money. We briefly covered, Monet Money. I told you it was bringing wrap Bitcoin to parity. Do you have any other opinions outside of that or anything that you were looking at?
No, that's basically what I've heard just from people I've talked to, that was the what people speculated it was being used for. I have a little bit of Monet money, but I don't really know much about it other than the tie-in with the wrapped Bitcoin copy. Yeah.
Okay. And then someone was saying that there's a 1% sell tax on Punk. Gotcha. I need to look at that. I haven't verified that, but please, be careful. I'm not saying buy these tokens. I'm saying this is a
Yeah,
new
yeah.
one that was launched out there. So if that's the case, please, be aware of that there might be a sell tax.
Sure.
So cool. Awesome. Well, I think we're at an hour. I think this is a good time to wrap this up. We covered a lot today. Iceman, we thank you for coming on. We talked about Super Steak, we talked about Jack, and then we got into my beloved
Yeah.
Atropa
Yeah,
ecosystem.
man. It's been great, man. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it's a great live stream.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, any final notes or anything you want to say for Super Steak or Jack or anything you want to say?
No, I just wanted to thank you for your time, man. It's been a very enjoyable stream. Thank you. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and guys, everything you need to know about Iceman, his socials, everything, down in chat below. I tagged his Twitter. I put the Superstake website. I need to go back in and put the Jack website. So if you guys want to look at this project, do a little research, check it out, and do your own research, you have the tools to do so. As for me, we're going to continue to cover more Atropa-based ecosystem tokens. I got another awesome live stream later on this week, and I got a bombshell video coming out on one of, I would say, probably the biggest sleepers for PRC20 token copies. I'm really excited that I'm going to be doing on Friday. So definitely stay tuned for that. So like I said, Iceman, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
and
man.
We definitely need to do it again.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you. It's been enjoyable. Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, see y'all in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Bye.